Hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. The week is starting off with a bang, is it not? Well, speaking of bangs, I want to talk about some things that are developing out in the world, and it gives us an idea, or it should anyways, of how things are going to develop in the United States. And by develop, I'm talking about shit hitting the fan. We had some really big events occur in Hong Kong. And I also read some interesting opinions out of Germany. Now, it's amazing. The internet can be something of a form of mental abuse that is mindless entertainment. Or you can use it the way we used to use newspapers and television for reliable news media. You know, you can get stories everywhere. And it's really fascinating. I do read stories about how millennials are, by and large, and a large majority of them, want to be socialists. And there's a lot of opinions as to what has caused that. You know, largely, I think it's indoctrination in schools, brainwashing, but also the kids, these young folk, you know, in mid-30s and younger, they're not seeing a lot of opportunity. And so they're looking and saying, well, what other systems are available that allow us some opportunity? And they're not seeing any, right? Because we're being given a choice of two options. But it's creating the third option, the SHIT option, right? The shit option. But these two options, it's the typical choice of two logical fallacy. Option one is you like the crony capitalism system, whereby the government works with their good buddies in big corporations and the 1% get rich. Big corporations includes manufacturing, services, banking, etc. The other option, of course, is communism, under the guise of communism light or socialism. And they're told that, well, if you don't like crony capitalism, then you have to choose this other thing. And both of them, in my opinion, are bad. So what is going on? Let's take a look at Hong Kong over the weekend, shall we? It has a lot of information or a lot of activity. Hong Kong is not going away. Hong Kong was very much free market. Hong Kong offered people internationally a lot of opportunity. I'm not saying it was a perfect free market system, but people liked it, you know, to a degree. To claim that the youth out there want socialism and communism internationally is wrong. We find it fascinating that in America, the millennial or the younger generation wants socialism. Well, it's not universal. It isn't. In Hong Kong, they don't want it. They're looking at communism and socialism from China, wanting to come into Hong Kong and run their lives, and they're rejecting it. They're absolutely rejecting it. In Germany, this opinion piece I read said that people, remember, Germany used to be divided into East and West. The East was on the Soviet side and the West was on the Western side. People wanted the wall to come down, and it did back in the early 1990s. It was, the popular belief was communism failed, so therefore the people want Western-style democracy, Western-style economics. And apparently, that's not the case. The coming down of the wall solved some of the bigger problems, right? Like the fear of being shot just for wanting to walk, you know, from one city district to another. But those people on the left, East Germany, the left meaning political left, they didn't want communism to end. They became indoctrinated over a lifetime. They became used to a government with a safety net giving them some stuff. Big brother or big mommy as it were. But they wanted more stuff. But they don't want responsibility for themselves. They don't know how to step out and take advantage of things. So there's now a push from the east side to say, hey, look, we wanted just a little more control of our lives, a little more opportunity, but we don't want to give up our safety nets. And they're starting to reject the West more and more. And interesting articles are out there on this. This push for more socialism or a return to socialism. But over in Hong Kong, as I just discussed, the people are rejecting communism and socialism. And they're doing so in a violent manner. Here in the United States, we're starting to see the violence. Right? And I believe the violence comes with more desperation. We're not desperate here in America yet, so people aren't behaving desperately, except for the far, far radical left, who is far, far and radical on the left. That's the Antifa types, the more radical communist types. Others are happy, working hard, trying to get ahead, and doing what they can, and realizing it takes years and decades to get ahead. You don't get out of high school or college and then just get ahead instantly. I think those that are into hard work understand the merits of that system. And yeah, it's going to get harder. So what happened in Hong Kong? In Hong Kong, over the weekend, we had police shoot a person, right, with live ammunition. I love how the news media, even the alt-right, that's supposed to be crazy radical, phrases things in odd ways. Live ammunition. Is there some kind of dead ammunition? I mean, jeez. Ammunition is ammunition. Anyways, someone was shot, a protester. The police are feeling more threatened by these radical, violent protesters. And they don't want communism, but by doing what they're doing, by becoming more violent, the government response is always to become more violent, to assert more control, more authoritarianism. That's what government does. So by becoming more violent, they're asking for more violence. Even though they're saying, we don't want China, we don't want communism, we don't want their version of communism, which has got a lot of fascist elements to it. But they're asking for it while they're saying they don't want it. And by saying we don't want it with violence, they're going to get more of it. So we're starting to see people who are being injured physically, being beat up, pushed around, intimidated, and Hong Kong is losing massive amounts of business, both investment business opportunities as well as tourism. Hong Kong is an interesting place. I've never been there. I won't be going there. But they're losing that. But we're seeing that kind of violence. Now it's stepping up to where the police are using live ammunition to defend themselves, to shoot others, right? And whether you say it was in self-defense or it was defending the state, it's still those people who said, I'll take a government paycheck to go possibly shoot people. I got to feed my family, so I'm going to go into the policing business. And they're on the side of government. And on the other side, you've got these radical youths. Now, what else happened in Hong Kong this weekend? Something that is absolutely horrifying to consider. And it's something we need to understand as preppers. It's going to affect us. There was an older man. How old doesn't matter. He was arguing with these youths. How young doesn't matter. But the fact that they could see a difference in age. This man wasn't a government official. He was a citizen. And he was arguing with the youth. Apparently, he'd had enough and he walked away. And for whatever reason, whether he decided he had one more thing to say or whether they taunted him some more, he turned around and went back to talk to them. And another Hong Kong youth wearing all black, apparently, a hoodie, a mask to disguise his identity, threw a flammable liquid on the old man and then lit him on fire. Burned a man alive for having an opinion. having an opinion, right, cost him basically his life. Whether he dies or died or not, he is now horribly scarred, probably disfigured. If he could make a living before, now he probably can't. He's going to have medical bills and problems the rest of his life. Because in an instant, a youth decided to throw fuel on him and light him on fire. This is a level of violence that is, for me, to think about me doing something like that, it's beyond comprehension. Right? To take a stranger, it's beyond comprehension to do that to someone that I disagree with their thoughts. So whether we're seeing socialists here in the United States of America, these socialist kids that are getting more violent, or whether we're seeing the German variety of discontent, which is, well, we don't want the crony capitalism, and we don't want pure communism, but we want what we want when we want it, and we want opportunity if we can get it. We want to get ahead if possible. If not, we want someone. What a lot of these people want is, if they can get ahead, they'll take it. If not, they want a safety net. They want someone to back them up. They want something for nothing. They want to have all the opportunity and all the security. That's not the world we live in. It never has been. And that idea is a lie, to be told that it's possible. You know, so we've got socialists in America. They want that, and they're becoming violent. In Germany, they're getting tired of these open border rules and other problems. They want their security. In Hong Kong, they want no security, right? But in all cases, not Germany so much, but they're getting there because they've actually, this political body is formed, and it is fascist in nature, right? Things are becoming more polarized, and we talk about this here in America a lot. The left has gone way left, and they're saying the right is going way right. No, the libertarians just want to, we haven't moved. I haven't moved anyways. I can't speak for everybody, or I can't speak for groups. I don't read their stuff. I don't read their propaganda, but I believe I've stayed right here. I just want to be free. Leave me alone. And I think a lot of people are that way. I make money. Don't tax me to death. I want to be free. Leave me alone. I make money. Don't tax me to death. I haven't moved. And I haven't moved. But the left is going so far left that it's polarizing. And there is no common or middle ground anymore. No ground that we can both come to and say, this is a good place to work from. Because the left has gone so far to the left in America that, you know, asking me to give up even more of what I don't have in order to satisfy their needs doesn't work, right? Because there's no satisfying those needs. And it appears that in Hong Kong, even though the government has said, hey, look, we're not going to do this China thing, we're going to put it off, yada, yada, young people go away. Another movement has developed, this idea that protesting, right, is going to get them what they want. It's just not going to work. I have a theory, and it is not a conspiracy theory, it's just a theory, a practical theory, based on observing things, is that the powers that be are going to continue to do what they can to make wealth. It's easy. It's an obvious answer, right? The wealthy will want more money while they can. But in order to control these people, whether it's Hong Kong or Germany or the United States, in order to control the people, right? People with a lot of wealth or resources, stuff, they're going to have more stuff with which they can use to fight the system, whether it's money or Molotov cocktails or sharp sticks or guns. If they have those things, they can use that to resist this power structure that has aligned itself with government to get what it wants. And so by bringing the economies down slowly, gradually, but bringing them down, while they continue to make even more money, they're going to get more control over the people, because the people will have less resources, less ability to resist. Right? They're resisting now. They're not liking it. You can feel the pressure. It's palpable. Hong Kong is a great example. Bolivia, they just had what the president who has stepped down is calling a coup. The military advised the president, I'll try and put links down below, advised the president, hey, guess what, buddy, you're out of here. We need you to step down. And so he did. It was not a violent, offensive coup, but it was the military saying, stand down. Right? And now we're learning that some military personnel, via Nikki Haley, who I am no fan of, said that Rex Tillerson and another general in the Trump administration tried recruiting her to helping them and others oppose Trump from within his own cabinet, his own administration. What does that tell us? It tells us there is an incredible amount of pressure in governments, Bolivia, little one, to the big one, United States. There's a lot of pressure to control things in a certain way, to move things in a certain direction, to maintain the status quo for the rich, and to make sure that the poor or the middle class don't get out of hand. And yeah, it seems obvious. That's the same old game. The rich want to get rich and they want to make sure everyone else doesn't get out of hand. Government's the same way. They want all the power the government can get, and they want to make sure the people stay down, stay calm, stay relaxed, stay drugged up. Bread and circus. That's what we've got going, and it's quite a fascinating scene. Yeah, it's incredible. And now they're with, here we're seeing, like I said, we used to watch news and read newspapers, televised news and newspapers. And it became so lopsided, so ridiculous that people moved away from it. And thankfully the internet was there and we can provide news and opinion to each other on this medium. And they're trying to tone it down and control it, right? They want to keep us over here and just call us the lunatic fringe so that the rich and the powerful can continue to do what they're doing. But it's my opinion that they're not going to be able to keep a lid on it, that people are going to become more and more disenfranchised, more frustrated, more angry. And the youth, of course, have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and they're going to resist it violently if they've been taught and told and shown this is how you take control. It's going to become a struggle for control, a struggle for power. Anyways, what do you think? What do you think of what's going on? What do you think of China, or rather Hong Kong, where police are starting to shoot people? It happened a couple of weeks ago as well, I believe. And even a youth setting an older person on fire. That's a level of malcontent that is hard to justify for me. It's incredibly difficult. Was it an agent provocateur that did that? Was it organic? It just happened naturally? Well, this person had to bring fuel to this event and then find somebody who they could target. So it's my opinion that, that was planned. Someone's wanting to get angry. In other words, things are really starting to escalate. Gun control. How about fuel control? Yeah, fuel control. Weird things are happening out there. Weird things. Best thing you and I can do is get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. I think that's the best move to make. Continue to do your job. Support your family, right? Support yourself. And let's keep one eye open and an ear to the ground and see what happens next. But, chance favors the prepared mind. As I say, is yours.